We have a short but important program today. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about diversity here at the School of Dental Medicine. We have some opening thoughts, some more words on diversity in dentistry. We have some words from the Dean of University of North Carolina School of Dental Medicine. We have a video to share with you. More reflections on bigotry and tolerance. I'd like to thank our guest, Mr. Farris Barakat, for coming all the way and sharing with us his thoughts, and some closing remarks by our Dean, Dr. Donoff. Again, for those of you who don't know me, I am Peggy Timothy, and along with Jennifer Vasquez, we are a small but hopefully mighty office, the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. I'm here to welcome you, to tell you a little bit about our office. We have such an ambitious agenda at our office. I'm not even going to spend much time telling you about our agenda. Most of the time, I forget some of our goals. And then I thought, let's just make it really simple. Diversity is a topic that my students spend 2 to 3 pages writing just a definition of it. So I'm just going to say that the point of our office is to make sure that the environment is comfortable and welcoming to all. So thank you again, and welcome here at Harvard School of Dental Medicine. We want for all of us, students, faculty, and staff, to really work towards being a family. Finally, our long winter is coming to an end. The snow is melting, and that means pretty soon the trees, the flowers, and the plants will begin to grow. So that's what we're going to think about today. We're going to think about the times have changed. We're going to let all that snow, let it behind. And for me, this is really true because this is what I see. This is Bremen Park in East Boston. It's still covered with snow, and I know pretty soon it won't look like that. I won't be the only one out there on a Sunday. So we're here again to remember. We're here to remember Deah Shaddy Barakat, Razan Mohammad Abu-Salha, Yusor Mohammad Abu-Salha. Thank you. I'd like to welcome Dr. Nail Kaji.
Good afternoon. It's really a pleasure and an honor to be able to see so many familiar faces and so many new faces from around the Longwood area and beyond, because this has been something that has affected many of us. We are here today to remember Deah Barakat, Yusor, Razan. We are here to honor them as colleagues in dentistry, as Americans, as Muslims, but even more so as human beings. At a time when markers of excellence in many of our professional circles have shifted to profits and corporate enterprise, Deah's determined dedication as a dental student to service reminds us that our profession at its heart is a call to heal. As a Muslim, he took the lives of prophets to heart. The love that he learned that Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad had for others, and the concern that they had for others, was a concern that he cultivated. His willingness to serve in so many places, Haiti, Sierra Leone, Syria, and he was only a second-year dental student, shows that his life was not just colorblind, but went beyond religious boundaries. Statements against bigotry and intolerance against many ways of life, Islam being one of them, are all too rampant in our world today. But Deah's actions speak louder than the legacy that any of those can leave behind. As a student of history, I know that intolerance against specific communities, whether cultural or religious, has been a part of our American story at times, usually because of the actions of a few somewhere or because of misconceptions that we might carry within. For many communities, growing up in California, the history of the Japanese is very much alive during World War II. But the history of many other communities, the Irish, the Polish, many others that have faced very similar kinds of bigotry and intolerance. But I am grateful to colleagues of mine here at the dental school and neighbors of mine here in Boston and other places that I've lived that have dared to ask questions. Because it is those questions that begin to illuminate answers that allow us to live together, that has allowed our American story to move beyond other communities that we had questions about, but soon got to know once we broke bread and got to know one another on a deeper basis. And this is an important principle for all of us here, many of us being clinicians, not just with basic patient care, but with being a basic human being outside of the dental clinic. There's a beautiful proverb that I read recently that said, "He who asks a question is a fool for only 5 minutes, but he who doesn't ask questions is a fool forever." However, with time, what was the other to many of us soon becomes a brother or a sister. Deah is exactly the kind of role model that I needed, that many of us need in dentistry, especially if we are to maintain our integrity as a profession. In a time of many ethical challenges, Deah saw things very clearly, nobly, and plainly. The prophetic call of service is central to his life. And that call of service is one that we ourselves are reminded of with his passing and the passing of his wife and his sister-in-law, all of whom were dedicated in their local and global communities. For me, his life serves as a reminder of why I chose this profession and how I plan to use the skills that I have learned here, one canal at a time. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the program. Just because one of the last places that Deah visited to go and serve was in Turkey, I thought it would be fitting to share a line of poetry from a poet from Turkey, from that region many centuries ago. And he says, "On the day I die, when I'm being carried toward the grave, don't weep. Don't say he's gone, because death has nothing to do with going away. The sun sets and the moon sets, but they're not gone. Death is a coming together. The tomb looks like a prison, but it's really a release into infinity. The human seed goes down in the ground like a bucket into the well where Joseph is. It grows and comes up full of unimagined beauty. Your mouth closes here and immediately opens there with a shout of joy." And I'd like to introduce Dr. Brian Swan.
So good afternoon and welcome to the Harvard School of Dental Medicine. And it's an honor again to have this opportunity to address you. I'd like first of all to just start out with a story. And the story was one of our residents, GPR residents that we had at our clinic. And he saw his patient for that morning and he came to me and he says, "You know, Dr. Swan, I cannot work on this man." He says, "I'm Muslim and this man is gay. And I just have a difficult time trying to work on him." And I said to him, "But this is your job. You have chosen this as your profession. And therefore, I'm instructing you to go out and treat your patient. Keep two things in mind. First of all, no matter what he does sexually, he is first of all a soul, a human being. And second of all, you can control how much he has to say to you because you should have your hands in his mouth, keeping him busy. Diversity is an opportunity. Diversity in educational institutions, diversity in workforces increases the learning. It's been proven. The data shows that. But we have to be able to embrace each other and treat each other fairly. So it becomes an opportunity. The opportunity is for us as healthcare providers, as people, as citizens, as human beings, to work on and work out our own biases. We all grow up, we learn biases, we watch TV, we read things, we all become biased. As a healthcare provider, each and every time you treat a patient is an opportunity to work out your own biases in order to become involved in the art of healing. The art of healing starts in the heart, in the mind, before you even make impact on what's happening with the body. So therefore, in closing of these brief remarks, we are the examples that we've been waiting for. I went to visit Colgate-Palmolive a couple of years ago. Huge, huge company all over the world. And I met with their diversity director, and he said that what we had to do in our company was to make diversity a part of the environment. Here at Harvard, we are trying to adopt that same attitude through the appointment by Dean Dunoff of Peggy Timothy, whom you've met, to become our first director of diversity. It is to change the environment and make the environment acceptable to the fact that people come from all different races and ethnic groups, and they come from all over the world, that we're in a global community. And what better place to set that example than here in the healthcare professions, where we all share life and death together. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very honored to share with you a letter from Dr. Jane Weintraub, the Dean of the University of North Carolina School of Dentistry. Dr. Weintraub is an alumnus of the AGE program in dental public health here at HSDM. Jane was my good friend and colleague for many years and my classmate at the Harvard School of Public Health. When I heard about this senseless tragedy, my heart went out to the family and friends of the victims first, and then to Jane Weintraub, trying to imagine what it would be like as a brand new dean to have to deal with such a horrible act in her community. All reports I got is that she handled it with calmness and compassion, which is her trait, and I think that comes across in her letter. Dear colleagues, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you who have expressed your condolences and support to our UNC School of Dentistry community. The HSDM event to remember Deah, Yusor, and Razan, Professionalism and Humanitarianism in Dentistry, really means a lot to me, to our students, and the rest of the school. Personally, as an HSDM alumnus, it makes me very proud that you would take the time to come together, remember our students, and discuss these important issues facing our profession and society. There are no words to make sense of this tragedy. With Deah Barakat's passing, a bright light went out at the UNC School of Dentistry. Deah, who was in his second year of the DDS program, will be remembered by all those he touched at our school for the many things: his 1,000-watt smile, his way of truly getting to know everyone around him, his incredible heart for service, his generosity, and so much more. Deah was a class officer. He was conducting research pertaining to early childhood caries that he would have presented at the recent IADR meeting. And of course, he became well known for his local and international community service efforts. He was and continues to be a role model for others. Our School of Dentistry grieves the loss of Deah, his wife Yusor, who we were looking forward to know when she enrolled in our DDS program in the fall, and his wife's sister Razan. We are grateful for the outpouring of support, love, and solidarity from the local, national, and international dental community, including the Harvard School of Dental Medicine, the UNC community, the Muslim community, the North Carolina universities, and beyond. We will miss Deah, The School of Dentistry and the profession will not be as bright without him. Our UNC students are beginning to plan a Deah Day for community service in the fall. I hope that all of us can find a way to give back in their memory as we move forward. Sincerely, Jane A. Weintraub, DDS, MPH, Dean and Alumni Distinguished Professor, HSDM PG 82. Thank you.
Next, we have a video to share with all of you.
Hey everyone at the Harvard School of Dental Medicine. Thank you so much for commemorating our classmate and great friend, Deah Barakat. He was a really great friend of ours, and the school hasn't been the same without him. We have a few of his classmates and best friends here to say a few words. One thing to keep in mind to all dental professionals and dental students is the things we've learned from Deah and the stories that you're going to hear are things that are worth keeping and holding tight for the rest of our careers. Thanks again.
When I met Deah during undergrad, we bonded because of basketball and dentistry. I didn't realize that he affected every single person that he met. He's a perfect example of you don't know what you have until it's gone. He just touches everybody that way.
Deah had a way of making everyone around him feel special. If you walked around the school and the community and asked anyone, they would say that he was one of their best friends. That's who he was, a friend to all.
So the day Deah and Yusor were getting married was also my anniversary. And when that day arrived, just past midnight, I got a text from Deah wishing me a happy anniversary. And I was so pleasantly surprised that it was his special day and he was thinking about me, wishing me a happy anniversary. But that's who he was, you know, whether it was somebody's first restoration or somebody's first, dental hygiene visit, he was there. He remembered people's special days.
Deah was a great student, but he was an even better friend. When we applied for the same position and he didn't get it, he offered to help me try to get it.
Deah had an amazing way to connect with other people. On our rides from the bus stop back to my apartment where he would drop me off, he would ask random strangers on the side of the road if they needed a ride. I consider myself a pretty quiet person, but Deah always found something that I loved to talk about.
Deah always had a way of knowing if someone was having a bad day, and he would do whatever it took to make it better. Deah always looked out for us, and he always looked out for me.
Hello everyone. When I heard about this sad demise of Deah, Yusor and Razan, I was motivated to do something. I wanted to express my feelings and opinion on this matter. Even though I am not an American citizen, I have adopted the American value system and freedom to speak up and deliver my voice. I went to Dr. Timothy, the director of the diversity office here at Harvard School of Dental Medicine. I have discussed this matter with her, and the message I've got from her was, you are safe here at Harvard. You can speak up and deliver your voice, and we will listen to you, support you, and will care about you. We are here today to celebrate Deah Barakat and his life. Deah was an excellent representative of humanity in the Muslim community in a time that Islamic identity is suffering because of the extremist act and the media influence. The love and compassion that Deah has embraced during his life has added a great value to the Islamic identity during this challenging time. But unfortunately, Deah has only lived for 20 years. He wasn't able to deliver his message for humanity. But we are here today to tell Deah and his family that we will carry on. We will take the responsibility to get more of the true message of Islam that isn't being perceived well because of the negative media. Media can do a better job to diminish bigotry and promote tolerance by having more balanced coverage and by reporting the positive aspect of Muslim community instead of highlighting extremism. I would like to tell you a story that all Muslims know, but not all of them talk about, and how Muslims should interact with other faiths and beliefs. During the time when Prophet Muhammad was the leader of his community, he approached the different belief and faith groups with an open heart. Prophet Muhammad had created an agreement called Sahifa. The purpose of this agreement was to ensure tolerance in his community and safety for the minority group at that time. This agreement has revealed that although we are coming from different faiths and beliefs, we all have the same rights and obligations. We will be one social body and will protect each other. This is what Prophet Muhammad has taught us. This is what Islam has taught us. This was the message of Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad: to love and forgive, to open your heart for everyone, to be considerate and compassionate to your brothers and sisters, regardless of their faith and beliefs. Unsurprisingly, Harvard always takes the initiative to cover and discuss such an important contemporary issue. As healthcare providers, we learn that in order to cure a disease, we have to diagnose it first. And today, by discussing the issue of bigotry and tolerance, we have initiated the diagnosis process for future treatment. Thank you.
And now it gives me great pleasure to invite our guest and brother Faris Barakat to share some valuable words with us.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I greet you all with the message of peace. The weather change has been hard on me. I'm a little sick. It's a lot warmer in Raleigh, North Carolina. And also, last night, as I was struggling to sleep, I had a dream that my brother had actually survived the incident. But thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. So, Tuesday night, I called my mom. For some reason, actually, I don't remember why. I wasn't in the greatest terms with her. It was something silly. So I wanted to call her just to check up on her and apologize. But she told me there might have been a shooting. At the hospital at Chapel Hill. Mama loves to check up on us using what's that, Find My Friends or whatever, so all our location is being shared, so we check, and my brother's at his apartment. I feel a little bit better. But then I get a tweet, something about it being on Summer Walk Circle. I'm the first one there. Mama comes with the father and mother of Yusor and Razan. Being us there, and by that time I figured it's probably a good idea to let my dad know that he should start heading over to Chapel Hill as well. It took him like hours to tell us anything, to even confirm an address, or if they were just injured, if they were our family or anyone else's, or were they dead. Turns out they needed a search warrant to enter the house because everyone was dead on arrival. I'll just read a little bit of the Quran, and this is kind of what we had going through our minds. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة إن الله مع الصابرين ولا تقولوا لمن يقتل في سبيل الله أموات بل أحياء ولكن لا تشعرون ولنبلوكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة وأولئك هم المهتدون. O you who believe, seek assistance through patience and prayer. Surely Allah is with the patient ones. And do not speak of those who are killed in Allah's way as dead. Nay, they are alive, but you do not perceive. And we will most certainly try you with somewhat of fear, hunger, loss of property and lives and fruits, and give good news to the patient ones, who, when a misfortune befalls them, they say, surely we are Allah's, and to Him we shall return. Those are they on whom are blessings and mercy from our Lord, and those are the followers of the right course. And I can tell you, faith and these amazing words of, and what Rumi was saying, that, and what helps us is that Deah, Yusor, Razan are not dead or gone. You know, a definition of dead is that they will go and not return. A dead flower is one that will not live again. But in fact, it's just a change of a state where we all will eventually, and it's promised that we will all die, and that we will meet up with them, God willing. It's up, you know, it's our duty now to be patient and to know that Allah is testing us and He chose us for this, and that as He has tried us with this difficulty, He's also blessing us and recompensing us in return. My brother and Yusor were, well, before I get there, when they finally told us that the 3 bodies were identified and confirmed, we had a lot of friends already in Chapel Hill. A lot of people heard of rumors. Yusuf, the brother of Yusor and Razan, was actually in Antigua studying medicine in the Caribbean. He also got wind of something happening on campus and that 3 people were involved. You know, he also called Deah and Yusor, and he got no response. But he wouldn't call anyone until his father would call him. And when his father called him, to his shock, the 3rd person was his 2nd sister. And I say that hopefully we can keep the Abu-Salha family and our family in your prayers, and anyone else who needs it. Because I feel like Yusuf embodied such strength for me, and their family embodied such strength. For Khalta Amira to lose 2 daughters, one who just got married, just got accepted to the School of Dentistry, who just moved in with her husband, and one who is doing amazing things at the School of Architecture at NC State, which is a very competitive program, and actually having just received an award for it. Yusuf to be left without siblings. You know, as it happened, you kind of sit there and kind of reflect on what it doesn't mean to lose a brother. You know, someone said it's one of those perfect examples of you don't know what you have till it's gone. I reflected on the fact that, like, once he became a dentist, I knew he was going to buy his new car, and I wanted to make sure the tires on it were good, things like that. I wanted to be an uncle to his kids. But I say this, and I tell you that Yusuf is not going to be an uncle to anyone's kids. I still have a sister, and he's alone. Deah and Yusor on Monday had texted Aisha Ahmed, who was the photographer at their wedding. They asked, when would I get the photos? She said Wednesday or Thursday. On Tuesday, they were murdered. They haven't seen their wedding photos. When they came in, and honest, we haven't seen them either yet. Don't really find too much comfort in seeing that. But at the wedding, Razan talked about an incident where Deah had gone and liked a bunch of Facebook posts of Yusor's from back in 2007, and it's like kind of an embarrassing thing to do. So Yusor wanted to get her husband back. She told Razan, hey, come out here, I need you to film something. And she started to tell a story of how Yusor parked, took out a water gun from the trunk, walked up the steps, knocked on the door. Deah opened the door. His hands were out for a hug. And Razan, using the words, she shot him. And then she advanced on the apartment. And then there so happens to be his dental school buddies there doing this, afraid. And the moral of the story then was that Yusor was bad at first impressions. But to me, this and amongst other things, it kind of is I think it's like a little gift from Allah to see that, you know, if we wonder sometimes, are Muslims violent, are they this and that? But if you wanted to know what Muslims were like, they're the ones achieving great things in school, shooting each other with water guns and pulling pranks on each other, and not associating themselves with the violence, and in fact could be just victims of it. The last text Deah sent to my mom was, I love you, Mama, out of the blue. At their wedding, for whatever reason, and I don't really know why, besides the fact that I've learned the lesson of death earlier from a passing of a friend, I told people, I figured we paid for your food, like you owe us something, right? And half these people, like, the bride and groom don't know. Like, weddings are not for the bride and groom. I'll tell you that if you don't know. They're for the parents. So I was like, hey, we paid for your food, you're here. At least make dua for us. And I told them, make dua for them now, make dua for them when they have their kids, and make dua for them at their wedding. I mean, at their funeral. And people ask me, why'd you say that? I was like, I don't know. My brother was working on a trip where he would go to Turkey and take 10 dentists with him to serve on the southern border of Turkey with Syria. My family is originally Syrian. My brother and I were both born in Raleigh, North Carolina. He had $16,000 of $20,000 fundraised on his U-Caring page, and now it's over $500,000. Even in watching this video, I used to make fun of him for doing this in the video. I make fun of him a lot for that. It was just a cute video. But he was saying, you know, spread the word. We need the funds. We need the help. So by Allah, he accomplished what he needed to do, and God had a plan for him, and he used him for his plan. I kind of wonder what Allah's plan for me is. And one thing is, I think for the first time, at least for many of us, we're able to see Muslims as those who love basketball. You know, President Obama wanted to reach out to us and wrote a letter quoting Yusor about her wearing of the hijab and still being part of the American fabric. But when Steph Curry, point guard of the Golden State Warriors, reached out to us, that's when I really reached for my phone, wanted to text my brother. He actually had won a 3-point contest wearing shoes that says "R.I. Rest in Peace, Deah" on them. Apparently the shoes were stolen. I really wanted those shoes, but he was supposed to send it to, I don't know. If someone knows Steph Curry, can you tell him we're waiting for the shoes? Thank you. Abu, a basketball player at NC State, we made this Sweet 16. We're still in the dance. Had come to Deah's wedding, and he promised them, I'm going to beat UNC and Duke for you. Before my brother had been murdered, NC State had beat Duke. 2 weeks after, we were invited by the dean of the dentistry school to come and witness the NC State UNC game at home at UNC. And the last time NC State beat UNC was like 13 years ago at home. And we beat them. And Abu was like, I fulfilled my promise to you at your wedding. And he was asked recently, was this NCAA part of the promise you made to my brother? He said, no, that's just a bonus. What I appreciated from Abu's response was the fact that what he got out of this was he's he's more focused and he appreciates more his basketball and what he has going for him. And I think this is a lesson we all learned. We witness our mortality, and hopefully, you know, continuing my brother's. I swear he loved dentistry so much. He was so proud of his school. He was so happy to give. And actually the next day, Wednesday at 2 p.m., I had an appointment with him to remove some of my cavities. So I think it's, you know, it's something that we all need to kind of hopefully learn from. And we say, oh, so his death was not in vain. That we all can take wherever we are and whatever God has blessed us with to be here specifically. For the betterment of ourselves, of our families, of our communities, of our society, of humanity. And if there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. And that's why I'm here today, just to spread the word a little bit and tell people I went to Harvard. My goal in life is to get like 5 honorary PhDs from universities. I don't actually want to study for them. I just want to work and get them. So maybe someday I'll do enough work to get an honorary PhD here, and it'll be super cool. And then you guys can call me doctors too. All right. Well, if there's anything I can do or any questions or anything like that, please let me know. And I apologize for any shortcomings or anything on my part. Last night was a pretty bad night for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Faris. Sometimes when we hear of things and we think about them in much larger political, social ways, and sometimes we forget the people that are involved and really the emotions and the stories that are attached to that. Next, I'd like to invite our beloved Dean, Bruce Denoff, Dr. Denoff, to please come up and share some remarks to close today's program.
When you leave this building today and go out the revolving doors, look to your right. There's a sculpture there that's called the Tree of Peace. It was created by Hedva Seah, Parisian artist. One sits at Hebrew University, one sits at Al Quds University Dental School in Palestine, one sits at A.T. Still, and one sits at Temple University. We dedicated that last June 16th. The shapes inherent in the Tree of Peace promote peace, hope, love, and liberty between nations and people. I believe in the power of the individual. I also believe in optimism. The Tree of Peace signifies that as well. And so I guess the main question to be asked is, can we have unity in diversity? And my answer to that question is, why not? We remember the students, we remember your brother, and we must remember them, and we must do better. Thank you.
And just before we close, we'd like to, I'd like to share a verse of the Quran which really talks about diversity and I think brings together a lot of what we shared today. And it's a verse that's addressed to mankind, so not only for those that are consider themselves to be Muslims. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. And the verse says, O mankind, that we have created you in tribes and in peoples for the single purpose of getting to know one another. And so I think that what Dean Dunoff just expressed, that the unity and diversity comes from recognizing why did diversity happen, or why was it created, depending on your perspective. And the answer that at least is shared here is that it's a conversation starter. And so I'd like to invite Dean Dunoff one more time up to the stage just to be able to share, and Farris Barakat as well, if you could join us.
First honorary PhD.
Dr. Barakat.
Dean I'm going to invite Dean Dunoff to read the honorary PhD. We didn't know you wanted that. We would have made it. On the way out, there's a table set up with some blank cards and pens. We just want you to reflect on what you heard today and just write your thoughts for peace and your thoughts for sympathy that we will share with the family. Thank you, Dean.
This reads, the Harvard School of Dental Medicine, its faculty, staff, and students honor the lives of Deah Shaddy Barakat, Razan Mohammad Abu-Salha, Yusor Mohammad Abu-Salha. We celebrate their compassion for community service and promoting peace worldwide. March 23, 2015.
Great. Thank you all. Lunch is outside, and please stop by and write your thoughts. Thank you.